Good evening, everyone. Hi, everyone. If you can confirm that you're able to hear me well. Great. Thank you very much for joining. We're just going to start our workshop about business strategy and sales for a tech startup in 2020. Just in a few minutes, we are checking the YouTube live broadcast connection. Please tell us, everyone, where you came from, which city, country. Thank you very much for joining. I see Edinburgh, Oxford, any other countries, cities. Let us know. Dubai, nice. London, great. Yeah, if you give us just a few minutes, just a short summary info that today we have live broadcast here and also on YouTube. Please, I highly ask you to prepare your question regarding business or sales strategy for your startup. We will answer all your questions during or after session. The best question of this session get a special prize. So please prepare your questions and feel free to ask in chat. And as I said, all your questions will be answered during or after broadcast session. So please prepare your question. Feel free to write it down in chat. The same for YouTube broadcast. So if you just give us a few minutes, we about to start. Thank you. All right, so we are ready to start. Just to remind, today we have a special workshop about business strategy and sales for a tech startup in 2020. What to do in the current situation, how to create a strategy for the rest of year. So please prepare your question. If you have any question in particular about your startup, feel free to ask. As I said, we're gonna answer all your questions during or after session. So today we have special guests and experts during our workshop. So please, as I said, prepare your question. And in the meantime, just our social media channels. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, a special WhatsApp group for our entrepreneurial community. And any questions to ask, feel free to email info@eligent.club. So today we have the bunch of the topics to cover. First of all, when and how to make your first sale if you're just about to start your sales process for your tech startup. What to focus on, B2B or B2C market. How to make your sales process sustainable and how to make sure you get in the sustainable pipeline of customers and potential customers as well. Sales strategy and channels, how to find customers, where to go and what to do. Different business models and sales tools and KPIs. And a very common question, is it required to make sales by a startup founder? We're going to speak about this, extra sources for sales, how to find more opportunities for sales if you think, you did everything and somehow it doesn't work. And what if you have zero sales now? It's a very actual topic for early stage startups who just about to start one business or just about to pitch startup in front of investors. First question they ask, how many sales you've got so far? So what to do, we're going to cover that. Tips and tricks, some sales strategy, some thoughts about that. And Q&A session. So as I said, feel free to prepare your question and ask right now or during the workshop. We have a special guest today. It's very diverse, and I'm very thankful for all our invited experts and guests that you joining us and you agreed to contribute to our discussion today. And so I'm going to start introduction of myself. My name is Slava Baranovsky. I'm a serial entrepreneur, founder of Eligent Club, tech community across Europe, and Eligent Accelerator program, entrepreneur in residence of Brunel University London, international speaker and mentor at HALT Founders Lab London. So you can find me across social media and on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me during or after a workshop. I'm happy to keep our conversation after the session. So yes, and today I see already our first guest, and if you don't mind, I just make introduction of our first guest, David Odier. He is joining us from London, UK. So David, I just made you presenter. Please check your camera and microphone if you can connect and if you can speak. And question to you, David. Please tell us your thoughts. What startups founders should focus on during the current situation? How to create a business strategy? What to do now? Or what to focus? And what are the sources to find the sales for a tech startup? Any thoughts and advice you can give, or any insights about the current situation, what we should do? So David, please tell us when you're ready to join. I just made you presenter, and yes, we just I see David. David, can you double check your microphone?
Okay, can you hear me now too?
Yes.
Great, great.
David, please introduce yourself and tell us your thoughts.
Hi, everybody. Pleasure to be here to do this virtual event. It's nice to be able to connect in these times. About me, very quickly, I'm the founder of onf.co, which is a growth marketing agency. We map growth strategies for companies and help them unlock new levels of growth. And this is powered by a team of freelancers who were subject matter experts on specific skills, should it be on paid marketing, SEO, UX, CRO. So we're able to create a team of experts for the right project, and it's completely modular. And prior to that, I was the head of international expansion for a French startup, which I brought to the UK. So I was managing both the marketing and sales aspects of the company in the UK. And I can tell you that more than ever, marketing and sales is becoming the same thing, actually. So I think that would be my first insight, maybe, to say that in these days, it's very difficult to conduct cold sales. Companies are not very looking for new solutions, new providers. So now is the time to work on other topics where you can create bigger value. And the main thing would be obviously market positioning. How do you differ from competition? What makes you stand out? What makes your product or your service stand out? I think that would be one of the first things. For companies, I'm going to talk about companies who already have clients because I think that's the easier thing to get started with for the beginning of this workshop, at least. I think now is the time to focus and optimize on the projects that you're currently working on. It's going to be very difficult to launch new products, to launch new ideas, new projects. But chances are that, a couple of projects here and there have been, under prioritized. Should it be on the analytics side of things? Should it be on mapping the whole funnel? So I think companies have the chance to work on such topics in these days because we're always in a rush in regular times. For companies who do not have customers just yet, I think that, as I said, working on your value proposition is very crucial and can make a difference in the long run as well as in the short term. And also, I would like to share this story from a pan-European accelerator called The Family. They are in France, UK, Berlin. And completely aside from this crisis, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago when they were just started and they were struggling to make cash. And of course, as any company with employees, when you're struggling to make cash, well, you're facing bankruptcy. And I think that's what a lot of companies are facing right now. And so what The Family did is that they realized a lot of their content was seen on YouTube. They had several thousands of views on YouTube, but they were not doing nothing with that, with their audience. So what they did, they created a kind of startup weekend format for high executives in large corporations, and they valued the weekend ticket for 5K. They managed to make 100 sales for that event. So wow. They were almost going for bankruptcy, and they managed to create 500K in sales. And I think that's a great story because they had their face against the wall. There was close to nothing they could do. So they jumped outside of their regular scope of work. They created something new based on their knowledge they had. And I think companies and individuals have the possibility in these days to create something different related to their business and can generate cash easier than software, maybe.
Right. Any thoughts for startups who just about to implement some business or sales strategy or maybe start their marketing activities? What do you think they can do right now? Because they probably don't have enough traction to engage with existing target audience.
I think it shouldn't change plans that much unless you're a business which requires physical interactions. I was speaking with a company and they are matching people with companies and they provide on-site services. So obviously this is very challenging at the moment, and in other words, it cannot be done. If you're selling a piece of software, if you're selling a service and you're able to do it remotely, then I don't think things should change. People are not stuck in bed doing nothing and crying. They are trying to keep on with their regular life, and I think that's what everyone should do. Of course, everybody should be very empathetic. You couldn't expect to be very hard on sales and people to respond positively to your message because it's just not the reflect of reality. And I think a lot of companies will experience customer churn or problems in customer acquisition if they behave as any other business day. If you do cold outreach and you tell people, please buy my product, I think that's inappropriate in these days. So yes, having strong empathy for your clients. If you're looking to get new clients, you could say even, because of this crisis, we decided to give a 50% discount or even a free access for the first 3 months. A startup that I know has done this. They were about to launch a month ago. Well, not exciting. And that's what they did. They just made their software for free for the next 3-4 months because their software includes collaboration. So it's a chance for people to try it without spending money and get used to the fact that remote working can be done with such tools. And I think it's working well for them, and it's a good example to follow.
On the positive side, do you think the startup, they get in a competitive advantage to be quicker in kind of maybe reshaping the strategy or reshaping the vision or optimizing the expenses in order to, again, to come through this few months of the current situation and then to adopt quicker to changing markets? And my question also, do you think that maybe approach or maybe some sales strategies, they will be completely reshaped in the end of this year? Maybe the methods or approaches like maybe a cold calling is going to work anymore to a certain degree? Maybe some new innovative ways of the promoting, or maybe again more engaging ways of promoting the products as a services, as you mentioned, that some startups, they providing our free products or some trials in order to first to get interest from the audience and loyalty, and then to start conversion into sale. So what's your thoughts? Do you think we observing transition of sales processes now this year, or looking back to a few years, 5 years, as you mentioned, that it's just a repetition or similar situation we saw before? What do you think?
Well, I think I'm going to respond slightly off topic, but it's related to your topic, which is business strategy. And I think because they go hand in hand. If you ask me about the trends in the startup world in these days compared to 5 years ago, the main thing that I see, which I think is a good thing, is to try to go towards profitability. So I think it's an opportunity this year more than any other year for startups to try and make it on their own without having to rely on VC cash to fuel their engine. They should try to be as profitable as possible and think of profitable sales strategy. I think that's the main objective companies should accomplish this year.
Right. Well, David, thanks a lot. It's a big pleasure to have you tonight. And yes, we see some guests are joining. Please stay in our chat, and we're going to discuss more later on. So, David, thank you very much. It's a great insights, and I think our audience is following our discussion, and it's very interesting. And I believe this year is very exciting and interesting for startups in general. Yes, as I mentioned before, welcome everyone who is joining us. Please ask your question during our chat regarding sales and business strategy for a tech startup in 2020. Before we actually going into our workshop, and I'm giving you some bits of knowledge, I would like to invite our another guest, Bülent Osman. So I just make you presenter, and please, if you can check your microphone and make sure your camera is working. I would love to ask your opinion on the same topic. So we speak about the business strategy and sales. What startups should focus on right now? What's your opinion, Bülent? Please join us for a conversation, and would be great to know your opinion. So we're just waiting for you. If you can double check your microphones, and I believe you're going to join us very shortly. And yes, please, as we discussed, feel free to ask questions in the chat. So yeah, I see Bülent. Yes.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent.
Good evening.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me, and very nice to be speaking with you and everyone else on the call. Just before we start, you need to tell me where I can get one of those Harrods coffee mugs, presumably Harrods.
Yes, yes, it is. That one.
Okay, great. Very good. I like that.
All right.
So just to introduce myself, I started a business. Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just to briefly introduce myself, I started a business a number of years ago called Staff Connect Group. We grew it here in the UK. and also in the US. I lived in San Francisco for about 18 months to build up the US business, and we grew it across both continents. And eventually, I sold it last year to a private equity firm in Los Angeles, and I left the business at the end of last year. So now I'm just helping the next generation of tech entrepreneurs as an advisor, a non-exec director, or a mentor. So I'm very happy to be on this call today.
Please tell us your opinion due to the current situation. We speak about business strategy and sales for startups. It's a tough moment probably for sales, especially for early stage startups who probably didn't get enough recognition on the market. Maybe they just are making the first steps. What's your thoughts about the current situation and how startups should work now and what they should focus on this year? Any ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great question, and I mean, let's be honest, it's going to be very, very tough. I don't think there's anything we can't deny that. These are really unprecedented times. They're uncertain times. So first of all, we all have to be very, very resilient and very strong, and keep going, because it will be difficult. But my core advice would be to really think about a word which I used quite a lot in my career, which is around being authentic, authenticity. So people buy from people, and people buy why you're doing something rather than necessarily what you do. And so, especially in these very difficult times, I think it's really important that we're all as authentic as possible, true to ourselves, what we believe here in the heart, and we need to try and articulate that in a very transparent and clear and honest way. Because if you can make a connection with people at that level of authenticity, there's a higher probability that people want to work with you or help you, or maybe buy your product, or help you to move the business on. And so from a sales point of view, I think it's really important that you get back to why are you in the business? Why have you created the business? What's the emotional driver that helped you to create the business in the first place? Why are you doing this? What problems are you solving? And be authentic about that. It isn't about making money. It's about making a dent in the universe. So what small dent in the universe are you looking to do? How passionate are you about that? How authentic are you? Are you faking it? In which case, I don't rate your chances very highly of success. Or are you truly believe it in your heart, and that you'll be driving and working as hard as possible to deliver against that passion and that belief? Because if it comes from every pore, and if it comes from every word on your website and every word that's in your documents, or every blog that you do or video that you create, that you're authentic and you're passionate and you really truly have something that will make a difference in the world, and you can articulate how you can do that, then you will succeed. But you need to be very, very clear about that. And now more than any is a time to be really thinking about those core things. Why are you doing it, rather than what it is exactly that you are doing? And if you approach in that way, you will increase your probability of success, in my view.
Well, do you think this kind of the business in general, and especially maybe in the startup world, it's becoming more personal, more focused on people, more focused on the startup founders, which once probably reflecting the kind of the mission and vision of startup companies they drive? And do you think it's becoming more important to come in front of the audience as a startup founder and explain, as you mentioned, why you're doing this and what you can give to the society and for the customers, and what is the mission behind of your business? Do you think so? Is it coming?
Absolutely. I think it was always the case, but I think now with the crisis we are facing, we're all faced with our own mortality, and we feel sad about what's going on in the world. And so I think the human nature in us is coming higher up the priority list. And with that, I think people want to connect with authentic people, genuine people that want to make a real difference, for a positive difference in the world. And therefore, it is important for founders, to find that in themselves, to make sure that they express that in a very expressive way, in all the different forms. And I think it's important that you meet potential customers or partners with a sense of collaboration and a sense of partnership.
Right.
One of your early questions, Slava, which I think was a very good one, is how do you find your first few customers? Well, my advice is don't think of them as your first few customers. Think of them as your first few partners. You want to create a partnership. And if a partnership means a win-win.
Right.
This isn't about you extracting some revenue. This is about you extracting or delivering some, maybe in return receiving some useful insights, maybe about your product, from minimal viable product to something that's fit for purpose within a certain industry. So let me give an example. I'm currently advising a couple of founders in the area of mental health. So they've got a software product, a software platform, which is out there to help improve the mental health of certain employees, right? And that's now a big issue, of course, especially with the crisis. People are feeling upset. And so now what I'm advising them is, look, don't worry too much about the revenue. So they're offering it to the NHS free. They're offering it to other care workers for free. And they're saying, look, please use it. All we want is for you to use it and just give us your feedback, because we want to make this product even better than it is. We want to make it fit for purpose. And so just give us your feedback. Meanwhile, please have it, and we'll give you 100% support to improve it. And people buy into this, and then you form great relationships. And when you have great relationships with certain organizations, then they will be your champions and your advocates, and one day in a few months' time, when this crisis is over, they'll be singing from the rooftops about you, about your product. And that's fantastic. And that will help you accelerate out of what will be a very difficult time for all of us. But we want to make sure we are putting the foundations in place initially to survive. Of course, we have to survive the next few months, because I keep saying it's going to be tough, right? But once we come through it and it becomes a bit easier, we then want to thrive. We want a slingshot almost to then move into significant growth. And the way you do that is you have advocates, you have people that love you, you have customers that love you, you have a product that's become even better than it ever was before, and then you're in a fantastic place to then use that as a method for very significant growth thereafter.
Well, I totally agree with you, and I think like most of us will remember this year, that's for sure. And I think that what is important to think of is when we remember, maybe in 5 years' time, when we will try to remember this 2020, we will also try to remember who was around us, who tried to support us, our businesses, in a friendly and supportive and collaborative way, as you mentioned, rather than tried to make some probably quick income or quick revenue. And I think those companies and those entrepreneurs who will be around and who are around right now, and I'm very pleased to have all of our audience and our guests around, because I believe that's the way how we collaborate, and that's the way how we support each other. I believe that's becoming even more valuable to keep in memory who was around, and it gives unlimited loyalty and kind of wish to collaborate further and to work together. So I totally agree with you. Nothing to add. Just last one picky question. Sorry for asking too much, but looking back to your experience as across our audience, we have quite a lot of early stage startup founders. So what do you think the typical mistake our early stage startup founders do in terms of business strategy and sales, and how to prevent it? Beyond the topic we discussed, in general, what do you think the main points to focus on?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and I think it's really around surrounding yourself with these people, So again, your interpersonal skills are going to be important. You may not be the best salesperson in the world. You may not be the best product manager in the world. You may not be the best techie to write code in the world. But if you can be, again, very authentic about your mission and what it is you wish to do and how you wish to change your world, no matter how small, then good people will come around you and want to support you. So I think to network and to meet good people, and usually successful people, always want to help the next generation. I mean, I know it's true for me. I want to help the next generation of people. I do feel I want to give back. I don't need to do this. I'm in a very fortunate position. I don't need to earn. I don't need to have to do this. But I wish to. I want to. And therefore, for people that I can trust and who are authentic and have a vision that I kind of identify with, I'll want to be helping them. So I think get the best advice from the best people. You don't have to pay money for it. That was, I guess, my point. You don't have to spend money. People are always willing to help. Good people that are willing to listen and take advice on board, and that way you'll avoid making the early mistakes and you'll set the right path to go forward.
Well, nothing to add. Thank you very much for your contribution to our discussion. Please stay with us, and we're definitely gonna talk more. And I see already questions in our chat, so if you don't mind to give some comments in our chat in the Click meeting room. So thank you very much, Bulen Osman, stayed with us. Just to remind, from Surrey, UK, United Kingdom. So yes, and I really appreciate for your support, and thank you very much for your advices to early stage startup founders. So yes, thank you very much for your questions. Victoria, how do you reach out to all people who will become your advocates? So yes, please feel free to discuss, and thank you very much, David, for answering. And please feel free to ask more. We're definitely going to reply all your questions. So now, let me give just a kind of the few bits of knowledge, because we just discussing about the business strategy and sales, and I'm just kind of coming back to the first steps of the making sales. And even now, I think it's still great time to try to make first steps for your startup. And my first question to the audience, and definitely I'm happy to give you my opinion, when to make your first sale, when is a good moment to start. And my answer to this, at idea stage. So for those entrepreneurs who just about to start building a tech business or tech startup, feel free to talk to people. And I think now we have plenty, huge amount of issues to solve, problems in inefficiency, challenges around us. So many ideas you can get. And I guess you definitely can find some people interested to discuss. So what do I mean by making a sale at idea stage is to find someone who would be very keen to try your product, to test it out, to give you the feedback, someone interested what exactly you do. And so, yes, if you're just at idea stage, it's great. And I think now especially, it's so many problems to solve. First of all, it's great if you have just the idea stage to try to make some first discussions, because you don't need investment for that, and you can get a real-time feedback regarding your idea. You don't have operational costs before you actually start it. And to pitch someone your idea, you don't have to develop anything. You just can explain verbally. And again, if someone of you across our session today having any idea, please feel free to pitch or share your ideas. We're definitely gonna give you the feedback or any comments on that. And also, when you have just an idea of your startup, you can get a quick test, yes or no, if the people interested to see more how your product would look like. And if you're just about to start your business, feel free to try to pitch your idea to your potential user or to co-founder, to mentor, advisor. You can connect your teacher or some university mentor. So basically, my comment before actually building anything, please feel free to talk to people and try to make your first sale pitch to people and get the feedback about that. And how to make your first sale. So definitely it's a question, and how to start. And my reflection to this, in 2019, it's not about how amazing is your product, it's about how it helps to solve the pain of customer. And I think now we at a bit current different stage. So for 2020, it's not only about to solve the pain of customer. So in 2020 is about how it helps to solve someone's life and business of customer. So if you operate in B2B sector, and there are a lot of sectors which are struggling now, and there are some bunch of issues. So how your startup can support business, how your startup can basically help to survive and come through these tough moments. Let's say in restaurant industry, there are a lot of startups appearing now in mobility sector, in delivery, in kind of online, kind of the platforms for cooking, for creating a loyalty with brands. So again, how your startups can help, and also hospitality sector in general, which is tough, and also events. So how your startup probably can help to events, and definitely med tech and educational sector as well. So a bunch of things. So you can talk to your friends, other startup founders, discuss their challenges, and the first question, how you can help them to survive. And when we discuss about any startup idea or any business idea, I guess first of all we need to clarify, what would be your target audience, and then down to your target audience, it's becoming more clear how to pitch and how to sell and propose your product or service. So definitely, if you're just about to start your business, usually we, like previous years, for example, starting a B2C startup was quite tough because of quite a lot of marketing expenses required. But what we can see now, actually, that so many people staying in home, and they're looking for content, they're looking for some interesting resources online. They actually looking for some new ideas, and some people, they got bored, or they tried everything they could try. So actually, I guess in B2C sector, there are so many opportunities right now to engage with audience. If before it was very tough, I guess a startup online products, they were competing with bunch of offline activities for which people could do, like sports, events, restaurants, many things. Now everything goes digital, and a lot of things you can provide online. So please take a look at the current situation and define which direction you go, B2B or B2C. But just in general, if you take a look at the B2B sector, in general, the sales process is longer, and sometimes it's limited scalability depending on the sector and niche, and also depends on professional network. So definitely, if you're just about to start your business in certain sector, it's you somehow need to get access to the professional network or some relevant contacts in the field. But as I mentioned before, there are huge amounts of the industry related problems, and the B2B sector can be profitable since first customer. And maybe again, if you can help startups to companies to survive, it still can be profitable. You can generate some revenue, even probably it's not priority for right now. And in general, for B2B sector, you don't have to spend too much for marketing as soon you're able to reach the relevant target audience. and in general, it's less competition. So again, it's interesting time to see what the opportunities. And for B2C sector, definitely now it's I think it's very interesting time to go to B2C sector. But in general, it's very tough to promote your product or service because there are so many consumer product exist. And it's hard to promote and make a marketing across your product promotion, and harder to define the business model, because I believe on personal level, we all now struggle with some cash flow. So it's more tricky, I think, this year to figure out what would be the business model for your startup. Maybe some freemium option where you can provide some product or service for free. But B2C sector is definitely highly scalable, and certain directions, no need to know some deep industry, to get deep industry knowledge. And it's short the sales process. As soon as someone loves your startup or your product via your mobile app or website or some digital product, it's much more easy to make kind of the sale or conversion of the user into buying something. Also, what is going on and during to the current situation, I think it's very interesting times in terms of watching which markets are becoming probably more leading markets now. And when you're just about to create your business strategy and sales strategy, the question, which markets would you target this year? Because some markets, they would be maybe in less tough situation. Some markets, they would be much more, suffering across the many sectors. So now it's a time to see and make research and check in real time what's going on across international markets and see where you can find the right fit for your product or service. And that's exactly what we do. So as I said, as soon like our sessions are international, feel free to share your ideas or ask questions about product market fit across certain markets or countries. Feel free to ask questions. We are happy to advise, and that's can be done via our chat. And when I'm mentioning also understanding the market, it's not only about the country or region, and definitely it's about the platforms, which devices our target customers are likely would use now. Are they iOS users, desktop users? Are they using tablets or some other devices? And also specific of target audience, age, income, industry, are they working professionals, or are they students or teenagers? So please, before actually making any sales or business strategy, define specific of target audience, and check out what competitors are doing right now. So again, I think thank you very much for Bülent and David for your previous contribution. I think again now it's time to be authentic, more unique, more personal. So please express why you doing that. And I think that's how you can be completely different from your competitors. If you're telling your personal story, and if you're telling why you're doing so, and what your product is about, and what the reason behind you doing this business, or you're launching this product, it's becoming more connecting to your target audience. And also influence factors. Again, we see the manufacturers this year as a Brexit, as a coronavirus situation, as probably some change in kind of the target audience behavior. Maybe our habits will change. Maybe we will see a more remote type of work and study. So more shift to digital channels to study, to work remotely, to engage with our potential customers, users. So again, that shift can be also part of your kind of research about the market you're trying to reach. And please check out again what's going on across the markets. And definitely it's very important to understand that the market size is big enough and scalable, because if your product is very niche, so the question would be how to accelerate your business to the next level. And what are your competitors? Again, it's very important to understand the landscape. It's just like an example of competition market map. So if you're building your tech startup, just try to figure out what your product does. Is it for a small team? Is it for some large companies? Are you creating some complex solution or something very simple and basic? Are you trying to reach you create an affordable price range, or you trying to target high-end customers in terms of the pricing? So again, try to find the niche, and I believe this competition landscape is gonna will be reshaped during this couple of months. So again, keep an eye on what your competitors do right now, and check it out. And I believe what is very important then, I'm not sure, my question to the audience, how many apps did you install into your device today? And any, 1, 2, 3? So 200 apps, is it possible? So I guess it's a big figure. So yeah, 20, none today and none last week. So yeah, exactly. So my point is that the people, they actually have a tendency to do not install apps anymore, because we have our communication apps, we have our social media applications. So now it's very difficult to convince customers to install apps. And now, as we see the trend that a lot of upcoming startups, they have a web version and maybe the website where you're not stuck, or you don't have to download anything. So the people, they don't really download too many applications into their devices. And that's also should be somehow part of your business strategy and sales strategy. Are you planning to sell via some kind of the web-based resources, or you want to make it as an app and reach customers using the mobile apps, mobile devices? And I think it's very important. And just coming back to the first sale, and just probably the first sale and meeting some potential customer or having the online call, I think what is important is to showcase of interest to what your customer need right now. What are they struggle with? So it's not about what your product does. It's about what your customer needs and what are the challenges they're facing with. And then you can see if your service or product is relevant to what they struggle with, or what the challenge is about. And I think the best approach to make a sale is to listen and to hear what people need and what are the needs they have. And for example, just yesterday, one of my friends, he called me to ask if I know some good tool for online conference, and he is doing this his conference right now online. And first of all, I asked him, what's your needs? Can you give me your requirements? What exactly do you need? And he said, I tried several tools and it's not working well, and so on. So my approach was just to help him by giving him advice before I need to understand what he needs what the requirements and what are the challenge. And so if you make the first sale at idea stage, please ask the question if you see the interest, if you did a brief to understand the problem your customer, potential customer has. You can ask if the people interested to follow up and see your complete product, or maybe some test version or demo version. And again, feel free to share if you have your MVP, feel free to share in comments links or any ask for feedback. We are happy to take a look and give you some comments or feedback. And also, if you make a first sale, again, this is not like just I would say the real sale. It's more about research and understanding what your customer needs and how you can help by providing your product or service. And then definitely you can make a follow-up and maybe just make your own research and come back to the person with some possible options, how you can help them to solve the challenge they have and the problem they have. And now, if you don't mind, I just would love to let me check if our special guest is here. Leah, I don't see Leah yet. So if you don't mind, I would like to invite Rizwana Shah, representative of Faster Capital, startup mentor and advisor, to join our conversation about the sales process and how we should, approach potential customers. Even it's very challenging times for probably a lot of companies and individuals. How do you think, we can make it work, and what's the strategy we can implement? So I just made Rizwana a presenter. If you can double check your camera and sound, and please share some of your thoughts and how do you see, we should do it properly without being rejected by customers or users. Don't make it too, proactive, maybe to make it more intelligent, more in a way of understanding again what our customers need. So Rizwana, if you can check your video and microphone. So thanks for joining. I see you around. So please let us know when you're ready to join us. And I just will give you a few insights about how to make your sales process sustainable. And imagine if you did your first sale, and if you get an interest or some users, they checking out your product or service. So please share your thoughts how to make your sales process sustainable, any comments or questions. And I guess what is important is to show the consistency. I think now is important to show if you operate as a company and if you provide the service. I think it's extremely important now to show the consistency that your startup provides service with no gaps, no interruptions, and you work as usual. And especially now, maybe some companies, they have limited working hours. I think it's a great time to show to your target audience and to your customers that you're dedicated to work, you provide great service, you have great support, and you're around. So you are not slowing down in terms of your activities. And I think, again, just giving the feedback, just 1 week ago, I tried to use the customer support of one service, and I was about to wait 1 hour to get a reply. It didn't look great. Definitely, I really wanted to maybe to get a reply to my question in 5 minutes and 10 minutes, but I had to wait for 1 hour before actually I got answer from customer support. It was quite long. Yeah, I see that Rizwana, you're ready, so feel free to show to activate your camera. So please, I'm checking out, and when you're ready, you are gonna appear. So if you can double check your camera, because I just made you presenter. If you can double check your camera, and if you can click, yes, I see you. So good evening. If you can double check your microphone, so we see camera, but we don't see the sound, we don't hear you yet. So okay. Perfect. Yes, We can hear you now. Hello? No, it's no sound yet. So if you can double check the sound.
Okay. Hold on.
Yep. No sound. No sound. We see. Yes, now.
Perfect. All right. Lovely. Okay. Hopefully we won't get interrupted by my nieces and nephews. Okay. So, okay, it keeps going. It keeps disappearing. Sorry. It keeps disappearing. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, yeah, thanks for the presentation there, Slava. Just want to talk a little bit more about the business strategy.
Please.
Before I do that, can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know, the sound keeps cutting out. Okay. Just wanted to talk a little bit about my background as well. So, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm working with Faster Capital and the
Yep.
Virgin Startup Initiative, and to work with the entrepreneurs who are starting their businesses and want to scale them as well. Right. So we work with a range of businesses from AI to e-commerce and lots of digital businesses. Particularly at this moment in time, it's a very difficult climate at this moment in time. So we're looking at what their strategy is in this market, understanding what's happening at the moment, and how you can solve people's problems. Now, in terms of strategy, business strategy, it's a map. You know, you'll determine the direction of your business, yeah, through a good business strategy, and what your business wants to look like in the future. What difference are you making? You need to assess the impact. You need to build trust with your customer. And in terms of sales strategy, you need to keep it simple, focused, and solve people's problems. It's as simple as that. However, we know it's a very difficult climate we're in at the moment. So I'm working with a beauty brand at the moment, an ethical beauty brand. They've just launched their new brand online. Now, because it's such a strong brand, they've built a strong brand. They've got a mention in one of the largest lifestyle magazines. So it's keeping it simple, keeping it focused, and solving people's problems. And they're providing as much free content as they can on their website.
Right.
Yeah. So keeping it simple in this difficult climate, understanding your market, the problems they're facing, and as you said in your presentation, you're just looking at what the pain points are, providing the solution, and talking to your customer, getting the feedback constantly, whether it's through surveys or doing your market research, putting together focus groups, as you said, online. It's not possible to do that in person at this moment in time. Gathering the requirements, getting their feedback, and improving your product or your service.
Right.
So that would be my advice: keep it simple, clear, and focused.
Great. If you don't mind asking, so if you can give us, please, your opinion, which sectors or which industries need more, innovative solutions right now? Definitely ed and med tech, but can you mention maybe some directions some early stage startups can focus on maybe come with completely new ideas to solve particular problems? Any advice or which direction to go for startups who just about to launch or create product?
Okay. Well, we're working with an AI solution, a technology that's going to be provided to care homes, we hope.
Mhm.
And this startup, they need to understand what the market is first. We're looking at the care sector. What problems are they facing? So, for example, in care homes, you need to monitor the patients, the residents, to make sure they're not falling, to safeguard their care. So you need to look at those kinds of opportunities. What are the opportunities, and can you just move it online, the business? At this moment in time, you can't, set up a retail in the retail sector at this moment in time. What can you do instead online, and how can you involve your customers or potential customers by doing your market research online through social media? Talk to them online. What are they doing at this moment in time? What products and services are they looking at? And develop your product and service from there. Do your market research. But medical, yes, technology, and particularly with the NHS, the care sector, how can the technology solve their problems
Right. And
in the NHS particular?
Uh, well, thanks a lot. And just one more question. Again, coming back to the super early stage startup founders who just about to create business strategy or make first sales. What do you think the typical mistake startup founders do and how to prevent it regarding the sales and business strategy?
Yeah. So with the sales and business strategy, you need to think about what your end goal is with the customer. What are their needs and what is the impact you're making, and what's the difference you're making in their lives? If you think about it this way, a person will not only ever buy from you if they trust you, so you're
Yep.
building trust, and also you're solving their problem. Otherwise, they're not going to buy from you at all. They want to know who
Right.
you are, and also what's your story. What impact are you making, not only in their life, but also, you know, how am I going to be benefiting from this? And what is the value of your product? What is the difference in your product compared to another product in the same category?
Right. Well, I totally agree with you, and I think that I'm exactly on the same page, and it's a very interesting time. And thank you very much for your feedback. Please, I see some questions and answers coming in the chat. Please stay with us, and I'm very thankful for your contribution and staying and support. Those entrepreneurs who just about to launch their business, or maybe they're looking for some solution to survive, and again to come through this difficult times for a bunch of businesses and individuals. Thank you very much, Rizwana. And yes, if you don't mind, now I would like to invite our guest from Spain, Leah. Leah is a startup founder, and yes, sorry, I just made the connection with Leah from Spain. Let me show you. Co-founder of Gastrocampo from Barcelona. So, Leah, if you can connect us and share your story about your startup and how your startup works now. What's your strategy? What exactly happening? Feel free to share your story. I just made you presenter. If you can double check your camera and sound and join us and share your story about your startup. Yes, we see you.
Oh, okay. I hope the Wi-Fi will handle everything.
Yes, you are.
It's been difficult. Great. Yeah, very interesting. All the insight and the experience. Here it's been tough, have to say. Well, I'm just gonna quickly tell you what we're doing. We started 3 months ago. We're
Yep.
developing SaaS-enabled marketplace to help connect local producers directly with restaurants and the hospitality industry. We were in our test phase, about to really get to know the features we will need to develop the platform, and then coronavirus hit. So all the restaurants closed, hotels, cafeterias. Well, you know the drill for everybody. So we were like, well, what's our mission here? We always wanted to help the producers and contribute to making all of the food supply and the food system more sustainable. So knowing this, we turned back to them and asked them how could we help, basically, if they had any issue of maybe surplus food that they suddenly couldn't sell. Luckily that was not a big issue for most of them, but for some it was, and we managed to connect with some charities. We just did everything that didn't require any tech, actually.
Yep.
Just connecting the bits and boots and try to give them show them that we can bring them some value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it worked out really well because in the end they trusted us so much that we managed to pivot to the B2C solution without charging anything. So now we're just non-profit during this crisis, and we developed basically an app right now where you can find as a consumer all the local producers that are able to do home deliveries. So we also help them with that. And this is where we are at now, trying to finally develop the SaaS marketplace. Now it's just an app where it looks more like a directory.
Right.
And yeah, we're into this right now.
So what's your plan for the rest of year? Are you gonna do R&D during this couple of months and then get back to the world in a few months' time, or did you reshape some thoughts about how did you think you're gonna reach your audience and customers? Anything changed in your marketing plan? How did you shape your vision regarding your activities?
I think our vision hasn't changed, because for us, whether we connect directly, our aim is to reduce intermediaries. So whether we help the consumer to buy directly to the producer or the restaurant, it's not that different. However, the way you have to get consumers to use the app is really different, basically from a B2C to a B2B.
Yeah.
So right now we're just going with the flow, really, trying to see how we can monetize this, still being non-profit, but to cover the cost. We're discovering a lot in terms of tech and seeing all the cost behind, and luckily the producers, since we managed to show them our value and how we could help, they are totally ready to help us pay these costs, and we're just getting from there, and definitely trying out mostly on the tech side what can be done to simplify the food supply chain here.
Right. And as you know, like some startup founders, they probably a bit lost, or maybe they struggle, or maybe they have some kind of concerns. Do they need to go right now and build their own products and services? Can you give some advice, or maybe your reflection to as a startup founder, as a leader of team and company, how to come through these tough challenges or these moments? How do you personally do it? What's your kind of the magic bullets to come through?
I don't think there's a magic bullet, to be honest. Just I think you have to be really convinced with what's your mission. So they do say you fall in love with your idea. That's really scary, but I think it's also necessary. You need to truly believe in what you're doing, not necessarily the solution, because in the end, our solution B2B, we're not doing it right now, but really the objective. What is it that you're trying to achieve? And as a marketplace, we were lucky. We are lucky because we can help both sides. So if one side doesn't make it, we always have the other side, and we can try to find solutions. But I think the key thing is, like everybody is saying, just listen to them. Really, just offer some solutions. Don't be scared to tell them your idea and see what's what they think, what's their reply. I think that has been the key element to also help us keep going. When you see that you're making an impact, that you're helping even a tiny portion of their business or in their lives, but you're seeing it then every day, you don't mind working 12 hours.
Right. But coming back to our previous discussion that we had here today, that maybe startup or entrepreneurship in general becoming more personal. Coming back to the 2019, where we met at Startup Week in Barcelona, I can tell that you was one of the most positive person I met there. And it's kind of keep me reminded about the importance of reflecting your mission, your vision, and the way how you drive your company. And thanks a lot for this kind of energy, engagement, the passion you do. And I think this is extremely important right now, especially now where we probably have to again, explain our customers and our target audience why we're doing this, what's the reason behind. And also, I guess more people expect that we coming to support and giving them some kind of at least positive vibe and positive ideas, rather than disappearing. And I think it's important for our customers also come and say, we are here to help, or we are here to support you if you need to, or at least make some kind of engagement, and just to make sure they are fine, or having this dialogue is important, I guess. And feel free. Yes.
No, just exactly like you're saying, just making personal. In the end, it's business, but it's also person to person, and it's understanding what we're all going through in there, and you just go on from there. Yeah.
Well, Leah, thank you very much for staying with us. Incredibly happy to see you again, to see your positive smile. So please stay with us. We're getting some questions about top sales, effective for B2B audience. If you don't mind to share some of your insights in chat, thank you very much. And best of luck. Stay strong and come through this time, and make your further developments. I'm looking forward to see more traction of your startup, and we are happy to share your progress so far across our community. So thank you very much for joining. And yes, it was Leah from Spain, from Barcelona. So now, if you don't mind, me to introduce gentleman from Hungary, from Budapest, Barnabas Csikus. He is representing special program and support for startups in Budapest and in Hungary in general. So Barnabas, if you can connect, and I just made you presenter. Barnabas, he's also ambassador of Eligent Club in Hungary. So please feel free to check your camera and sound. If you give us your thoughts about the business strategy and what's going on in Hungary, how it works so far, and what advice you can give to early stage startups, what they should focus on now, and how to implement business strategy in sales in 2020. What's your advice? So yeah, I just waiting for you, and I made you presenter. So if you can double check your camera. Yes.
Yeah, sure. Hey, do you hear me now?
Yes.
Cool, great. Hi, everyone, and it's an honor to be with you here. I'm so happy to hear so many great questions and so many great experts all around. And it was a pretty good feeling that I've heard Lea's story, and I've just experienced almost the same here in Hungary as well. So it was a B2B startup focusing on producers, helping them to get to restaurants, cafes, whatever. They experienced the entire target market like dying, so they just pivoted in 1.5 weeks and started their B2C solution. And also what was amazing to see that they didn't really just pivoted, but they helped out others who were in problems. So for example, one of their previous buyers or customers was let's call it a party place, or not a pub, but let's call it that way. And they had to shut down. So this startup just rented out a place within the pub and employed some of their employees as the stock keepers. So they are actually having an increased amount of orders. They got started pretty well, and they are helping others as well, especially their former customers. So these are amazing synergies, what I see right here. But in more general terms, I think there are certain categories within which you need to think about for laying out your current strategy for the current system and current problem, meaning the virus and its consequences. So for example, a lot depends on your funding status. If you just received a pretty good amount of funding, then you can afford to acquire lots of customers. even with free trials and stuff. So that's really great time for you then, if you are providing the right solution that they are in need of right now. But if you are in need of cash flow to maintain your operations, then it's a completely different area and different situation which you are in. Also, a lot differs within or among B2C and B2B. So completely different strategies are needed. In B2C, there's a huge shift towards things that you can either do, consume, or have at home, and almost nothing else. But in B2B, and sorry, I forgot to introduce myself properly. So
Yes.
I'm working for Input Program, which is a Hungarian governmental program helping Hungarian startups getting to the international markets. And I'm leading the business development team there, and also helping startups to basically from idea stage to growth stage to get the help they require from the business development side. And I've seen a lots of startups, and within Hungary, I've seen much more successful B2B startups, because I believe that the ticket sizes for investments in Hungary are rather low. So as Slava mentioned also, in B2C, you really need to have lots of money for marketing purposes. And
Right.
lots of times I've seen that they started off as a B2C startup, and then they realized that it's easier to just, and a lot cheaper, to just grab some huge customers and then provide their solution to them, than to reach out to each and every customer and end customer, let's say, and get them involved. So this is one thing what I've seen. And if you are in real need of cash flow and you cannot really afford a free customer acquisition at this point, you really need to think about that. Are you providing something that they are really need of, that it is essential to them, just as Slava said? And if so, then you are a lucky person. If not, then you really need to reconsider that what can twist it to something that they are in need of in the current situation. And maybe you can twist even your current solution with a different message to a different niche into something that they are in need of. Or you can also somehow help out your customers or potential customers. For example, there's a great Hungarian startup who put together a guide for SMEs on how to survive this solution. And in the end, they were advertising their own solution, of course, and it brought in a lots of customers for them, because they also provided lots of helpful information, and they could provide the tool to use that information.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks a lot. I just super quick question. Over the current last maybe 1-2 months, did you see some new heroes of the tech startup scene coming in Hungary in I don't know, in education, in medicine, or delivery, or online events? Any new names which probably came from idea stage up to well recognition? Do you see some completely new companies appearing, or it's maybe some existing companies they have very interesting case studies to reshape the way how they approach the customer? Do you see some interesting stories about that? Any examples?
Actually, there's been the Hack the Crisis hackathon. I'm not sure when, I think like 2 weeks ago. And I see that they are really dedicated to their solutions. There were some which already launched their products. So I'm really optimistic on that. In delivery, what I see, there are some companies who already got started before the entire crisis, but it came really handy to them. But also there's, for example, a Hungarian startup, which was an online price comparison for online groceries. and they realized that the huge chains cannot keep up with the deliveries, so they launched themselves into online grocery store basically with the stock. So there are huge pivots in this field, and I'm really curious whether they will stay there, or it's going to be permanent or just temporary, flattening the curve.
Just like a super minor add-on or add-on question. So what's going on in ed tech, in education sector? Are the students and some educational programs, they shifted into online remote education? Do you have some new startups doing something in this field, or do you see the demand of educational tools or platforms for universities and some other educational bodies? Any thoughts on that? Comments?
Yep, sure. I'm really sad because before this, I've seen one of our edtech startuppers among the attendees, and unfortunately, he just left recently. But I was really happy to see that, because yeah, there are pretty good edtech startups in Hungary. But right now, I don't see, because of the sales cycle that they are getting into the educational system. So what's really widespread right now is that Microsoft offer their Teams solution to schools, and also
Right.
university classes are going via Skype. So it's much more of the traditional methods, what I see.
Right. Barnabas, thanks a lot for your stay, for your contribution, telling the story about Hungary situation. And thanks a lot for your advices. And please stay with us. I believe I see some bunch of the discussions happening in chat. Please, if you can contribute to our discussion, I really appreciate for your contribution. Thanks a lot. Stay safe, and we are moving on, and we hope to come through this kind of brainstorming session about how to make a sales strategy and business strategy in 2020. Just a quick reminder, please ask your questions. We select the best one, and we get a special prize for best question of session in the end. So please ask your questions, and I'm very pleased for your discussion. So let me come through the few points regarding sustainability. And I think this is important, as we know that the current situation is probably affecting or making a change in terms of how your sales plan is realistic, or sales process is sustainable. But in terms of investment opportunities, definitely it's great if you have a good track record of sales, and if you have a growing demand for your product or service, how to make it work. So let me give you just a few examples. So as I said, show the consistency. And it's quite kind of a lot of the content here. But what is important, first, for sure, it's need to start with strategy regarding your pricing of channels, which campaign you're going to use, which processes and tools you're going to use to track. Then you need to launch maybe activities like a sales campaign or some advertising or promotion of your events and activities to track the leads, your visitors or users, leads of your website or potential customers. Also, what is very important is to dedicate sales team or someone responsible for sales process across your team, because sometimes early stage startup founders, they can think that sales process goes by itself. It's not the case. It's important to dedicate responsible person or someone in your team to follow the plan. And what is definitely important is to use the CRM tools and some tools to track your leads and to track your customers. And that's actually the way to make it scalable, because if you have 100 customers, you probably can remember everyone by face. But what if you have 1,000 customers and your team is growing? So definitely you need to have a CRM system in order to be able to involve more sales manager or more people managing your customers, and in terms of support as well. And also it's need to reshape and check your targets and KPIs, and to track how it goes and what is the what's going on across your targets. And definitely I believe yes, any specific CRM you recommend for tech startups, feel free. Please, our experts, feel free to share your experience. I'm going to reply later on, but definitely there are some recommendations depending on also on specific on nature of your startup. Maybe you can give us a bit more about what your startup does or what your startup is about. And what is also very important that now especially it's probably a very tough moments, or maybe it's interesting times to figure out what's going to be your business model. And as we discussed before, maybe it's time to provide some discounts or freemium model where you have some limited time or some special plan as a free service of your product. And then it's much more easy to subscribe people to paid plan, maybe in 3 months or 6 months time. When again the situation become better, you definitely can create a pay-per-purchase plan where a business model built on that, where just people they buy in the product. But definitely the subscription model gives more connection and keep your kind of existing of your current customers longer. So definitely it gives you more time frame how long your customers stay with your product. Also, you can make a commission fee based on some purchase or like deliver of something. And also it can be advertising or some kind of the promotion of other services and companies. If to ask what is the best model for your particular startup, feel free to ask the comments or to clarify. But what is important that is probably there is no unique bullet point, and if you can create multiple revenue streams based on some kind of the freemium product, also some option to pay per purchase, and maybe to make a partnership and promote some products of other your partners across your product or service, or maybe make a cross sell. So feel free to investigate and maybe to try out the multiple revenue streams and multiple business models to test it out, or you can reshape it right now in order to make more loyalty to your target audience and make it more attractive. And what is important also, still, if you're creating a sales plan, what is very important is to create your cash flow plan. And if you didn't reach break-even points, definitely it's important to keep an eye when you're about to break even and how your sales looks like. And again, what is very important is probably it's not so critical if you don't have the growth right now or maybe for next couple of months, but it's great if you can keep the consistency of sales of maybe some very silent or subtle growth, but still you have some paid and free customers pipeline. It's great. And again, if you see that your project, your situation is changing, please recalculate your cash flow plan, and especially if you engage with investors or some partners, to reflect the current situation and to do not overpromise, and also to deliver your plan. But this cost structure in your cash flow plan still keeps your mindset focused on reaching the milestones and goals. And what are the sales channels? Definitely, as you see, that a lot of shift now is happening to online because there are many different digital activities happening right now. So you can promote a product or service via your platform, your website, or some app. You also can work with resellers or partners, make some cross-sell programs, and try to make partnerships or collaborations. also make online adverts, and also maybe online adverts promoting not only, how great is your product as well, but again, coming back to the beginning of the discussion, how your product can help now to the businesses and individuals, maybe to showcase your support and help, not promoting your product, but showcasing your contribution and support of others. Definitely social media now, I guess, has a significant growth of user base and the time, how much people spend during the day on social media. So please, I think now is great possibilities for engaging across social media channels. And search engines, definitely, please, now is time. You have plenty of time, so time to focus on SEO optimization, search engine optimization. Write blog posts and articles about your startup, about why you're doing your business, and so on, to generate more content on your website. And again, people have enough time now to read and engage with your product or service, and especially company, and maybe time to tell more about your team, about your resources. And definitely, again, to increase some kind of the revenue stream, but also loyalty across your target audience. Time to create nice MailChimp subscription emails. Again, as Barnabas mentioned before, maybe the subscription email, how in your particular industry, what are the tools or services companies can provide for free due to the current situation, what your company offering as a free tools or services, what exactly you do. As I mentioned before, here you go, just two examples, Zoho CRM and HubSpot CRM, which has a free version. Please check it out. It's quite powerful. And definitely, as I mentioned before, if your customers need to wait for 1-2 hours before you get reply online, it's too long. So time to implement live chats, chatbots, customer support phone number, WhatsApp number, or any place where your target audience can get very quick instant response regarding the support or tech issue or anything they need to. And also time to collect the customer feedback. What do they struggle with right now? Make a testimonial, send them the questionnaire and ask what your customers, existing customers, struggle with, how you can help them, what to do via Google Forms or Typeform service, or you implement some feedback form into your app or some website or web app. So again, time to collect, speak to your customers, ask what are they looking for, or maybe ask them what you can focus in next 1-2 months, which features do they wait or expect across your functionality. And also what is definitely important is to use the CRM tools, as we have the discussion here in chat, and also Google Analytics and Facebook Analytics to see, again, sometimes maybe we are very busy to focus on that, but now it's time to analyze what your customers prefer to see across your social media and across your website channels. And again, which articles, which subscription mails are the most demanding, or what they need, again, to understand and make more research about your existing and the future customers. And now, if you don't mind, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for staying active in chat. Feel free to ask questions. We select the best one. Now, I would like to invite our special guest, Afnan. So I just gonna make you presenter, and let me show our special guest today, Afnan. So if you connect to us, I just made you presenter in order to give you your thoughts and maybe give us some of your thoughts regarding how to make sales process now and what startups can focus now, and maybe your reflection due to the current situation. How do you see, the current couple of months? What startup founders should focus on, and how to survive, and how to help other companies and individuals to survive. So yes, I just made the presenter Afnan from Coventry, England. So please check your video and sound. Hope you can join us very shortly. And yes, waiting for your comments, and I will be very thankful for your contribution to our discussion. So please, we're just waiting for you for a while. Yes, and in the meantime, as I said, feel free to ask questions about CRM tools or anything related to analytics, tracking the customers. I'm happy to answer later on, but all the questions will be answered during session or afterwards. So we're just waiting for Afnan. Yes, and in the meantime, I'm giving you a few comments about keeping engagement with your customers, how to increase your sales. And again, by providing better customer experience, maybe providing some products, extra products or services with discount, maybe make some promotion codes for, again, some free services. Definitely some loyalty programs for digital projects like rewards if they keep using your product or service, or rewards for filling the feedback form, rewards for inviting friends or making recommendation to your friends. So please create a loyalty program for your existing customers. So coming back also to the question, how to make a customers right now, maybe what is very important to do is to keep focus on the customers you already have, in order to make sure they get in a good service, they have in a good support. And also what is important to increase some sales, maybe also to launch some referral program, and again give them some kind of the free credits to use your product or service, in order to stimulate customers to stay and maybe recommend your product or service to other people. And yes, just also gonna speak a bit about requirement to make sales by founder. And I think, again, feel free to give your opinion on that. But from my perspective, well, it's required to make a sales, because startup founder is probably the best salesperson initially, because nobody knows product better than startup founder. And other people definitely can scale up your business, but please try to make sure you can sell, or you can promote, or at least you can explain what your product does to your customers or your target audience. And so what is important to say is that definitely it's important to keep practicing about sales by a founder, and definitely it's down to the confidence, pitching practice. If feel free to recommend anyone regarding pitching, any coach in pitching, feel free to share your experience in chat. If you know any good coach regarding the pitching, feel free to share. Also, it's important to remember the tech side and figures. If your customers, they explain, oh, I think that Afnan is good. Yes.
I was trying to figure it out. Like, it's my first time to connect.
Great.
So hello everyone, and Slava, thank you for this invitation. So as Slava introduced me, my name is Afnan Saqr. How is the voice first? Can you hear me well? Okay. So my name is Afnan Saqr, and I'm from Jordan. Currently, I'm in UK doing my master's degree in innovation and entrepreneurship at the University of Warwick. I also have like 10 years of experience in the tech sector. So actually, I worked in different positions, starting from quality assurance, quality control. Then for the last 5 years, I was focusing on business analysis, system analysis concerning software products and software applications. And for the for the past 3 years, I've been working more into on product management. On the other side, I can describe myself like a social entrepreneur. I've created initiatives and been part of international initiatives. One of them was with the Trust Organization, which is one of the Prince Charles charities, and another one in the US with the State Department. And most of them are focusing on youth and how to support youth and especially women. And this is my passion is to empower women. So I would like maybe to talk about two main points. One of them is what Slava mentioned about mentorship and the importance of mentorship. I've been also a mentor for entrepreneurs, for youth, and it's very important. I think that from professional point of view and personal point of view, to have a mentor to support you in your business, and it's really helpful to diversify the perspective about your business and to know more about the feedback, because mentors also support in giving you honest feedback, and they should be at that level of authenticity with you to support you by providing authentic feedback about your product and about your even about your character as in business or in life. And personally, I used to have a mentor who supported me in different areas in my career. And now I consider my tutors at the university are my mentors who I can seek their helps during my study and my side projects. And the other thing is mentor, also they can help you to build a network. And this is another important thing, to have a proper network, because I think that the startup founder or entrepreneur, maybe they don't have the know-how about everything or about every area they are working with. So they need to connect with the expertise from different areas. Like if you need a support in finance or legal or project development or product development, you can just reach out these experts through your network or through your mentors who are able also to give the support. So the other thing I might talk about, which is related to today's topic, is the product management, because today I'm considering product management is integral part in any business formation and even the growth later on. And as Mr. Osman has mentioned, that when you have the capital and when your business is coming growing up, you need to have this great product manager who can support you to shape your product and to maximize its value. For instance, the product manager is responsible for creating a product roadmap, and this roadmap is basically driven or translation for the company strategy or for product strategy. So if the startup or the business they have this big strategy and they need to cascade it down into milestones and into achievable, let's say, achievable plan, then they need to have a clear roadmap for their products. And also this product roadmap will also help them to validate their business on every milestone. Like whenever I go from one milestone into another, I need to do to validate my business against specific metrics as well, which I need to set them at the beginning of my product strategy, setting my product strategy. And also it will help them to prioritize their requirements or their milestones according to the market condition and trends. For instance, we are seeing now this uncertain situation. So I think many startups and many companies, they are now, I think they are revamping their products, and they are even trying to reprioritize their product backlog to come up with the features and requirements which can serve them the best and serve the current situation. For instance, if we have, like, for example, a business which is concentrating on counseling and online therapy, they might now launch a face-to-face counseling counseling feature or functionality on their products, because the current situation will also influence our product strategy and product roadmap. And the final thing I might talk about in the product management, I think that product management is very broad topic. We might talk about it maybe in the next broadcast. And yeah, I forgot to say that the vibes is very nice and positive. So again, thank you, Slava, for having me. And so the final thing is about managing the team. So the product manager is like the orchestrator for the team. They don't have to be like 100% aware of the technicality of every like position or every functionality in the company. However, they need to manage the team and the cross-functional team. And now, under this situation, like everyone is working from home, we are having like broad team members who are working from different areas. So it's very important to connect the team together and having a proper tool. Like, for instance, there is many management tools that the product manager can use. In my previous position, I used to deal with Trello and Asana tools, and they are very useful. At the same time, I think they are free, or they are at affordable prices. So this kind of tool will help you also to structure the work of your team and their duties and activities, which already embedded under the product roadmap. So yeah, so again, to just to wrap up, having like your product roadmap in place at the beginning, like as soon as you have your product strategy, then try to build your product roadmap. Then to have like all your product backlog, and to understand when to prioritize your product backlog, and finally to have a proper product management or product team management tool, which will help you to keep like aligned with all your team member, and to keep them also productive and working under this circumstance. So yeah, this is very quick, no?
Great, thanks a lot for your contribution. I see the comment from Leah saying that they need you there because there are two women at Gestra campus. So if you can follow up and have a discussion afterwards, I would be very pleased to see this connection. That's the way how we do it, and I'm very pleased again to see and have you tonight, and for your contribution. But what I think is very important, what you made stress on that it's very important to have a mentor and advisor supporting you on the way. But my picky question would be maybe a tricky one. How to find the mentor? How to decide and define who's the right mentor for you? How can you share some very quick experience how to find the right mentor for your startup? If you...
To be honest, like from my personal experience, it was like the whole thing was by accident. She was like one of the trainers who provided me one of the training session, and I like the way she delivered the work, and I found her like a very knowledgeable person, and I approached her. Actually, I asked her if she had the time to just like sit with me like once a month, or if we can have like phone calls from time to time just to discuss my ideas and my not only ideas. Actually, I needed her on to consult her about my career objectives at that time. It was like maybe 7 years ago. And then I had another mentor when I participated in a mentorship program with one of the program that I participated in. And through this program, they assigned someone to me, and we worked like until now we are friends, and we keep checking on each other. And yeah, she's reaching out to me, and she's like checking on my progress, and she's like trying to give me advices from time to time. I think it's like, if you want to find someone, you will. If you have like this clear vision about what you like, about your needs and what you need to achieve, then basically you can just go to LinkedIn and look for people who are, and I think that many people at this time, they are willing to provide these helps. I know many of them. So if anyone's struggling to find a mentor, just like reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn as well, so you can connect with me. And yeah, I'm happy to help at this area. But there is like, I think there is like no magic in this. Like, if you seek to find someone, you will find.
Well, as you're absolutely right that you met someone before which you felt it's probably the right one, the right person, and you had that click in between, and probably you felt that you're comfortable to share some information and some your personal story, because it's really personal. It's startup journey. It's very hard to differ your personal life, your current situation, your family situation, and maybe some business things. So please share your comments, Afnan. If you can send your LinkedIn contact details in chat. So I believe there are some ladies and gentlemen would love to join and maybe follow up with you. So yes, thank you very much. Very pleased. We are very limited with time, unfortunately, but definitely happy to follow up and have more discussions at our next session. So
yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for interruption, and I just sorry after that I had to cut, but I just need to make it to summarize our session. We have two more guests joining us. So in the meantime, I just would love to connect with Gaynor Matthews, and while I'm doing that, let me give you a few comments about the moment. What to do if you don't have sales, if your sales are zero? What to do with the current situation? And let me find some slides about that. We discussed about the founder, and I said it's important to do so. And regarding the closing your sale and how to make sale conversion, just like a quick comment that please be honest with your customers, be active, flexible, and if it's a good deal, if you feel your product can help your customers, explain why. But if you feel that your product and service cannot help to your customer by some reason, it's better to say honestly that it's probably not the right fit. And I think your customers would love to have this honesty and transparency rather than trying to make the sale no matter what. And Gaynor, we are waiting for you. I just let me make a slide. So if you can double check your video camera and sound, and tell us your reflection on how startups should approach and make some sales. If you can give any thoughts on that. We have just a few minutes because we are quite limited with time, unfortunately. But please, pleasure to connect with you, Gaynor Matthews from Midlands, United Kingdom, joining us tonight. So we are waiting for you for the moment. If you can double check your signal, the video and sound. And let me just give quick comments regarding this. Just a few comments. If you have 0 sales at the moment now and you're struggling to find the customers, it's a perfect time to focus on R&D and collecting the feedback. Great time to create partnerships and provide support for your existing customers or support for your potential customers as well. Also, great time to engage with your social media channels and some other channels to create a product awareness and to create the loyalty to your product. And I think if your sales are 0 right now, I think it's important to look not to how it looks right now when you probably struggle to engage with your potential customers. It's extremely important to think how your situation would be tomorrow and in few months' time. So please think not about the current situation. Think how your startup would look like in the few months' time, and I think that's extremely important. And also, please ask your final questions because we select the winner of the best question tonight and aiming to give a special prize while we're waiting for Gaynor Matthews. So I would love to invite also the Andrew bot. Andrew, if you can give us your comments, your insights. Thanks for joining tonight. And I just made you presenter. Oh, sorry, not David. Just Andrew Bot. So Andrew, if you can join us tonight to give us your few comments about your thoughts about the sales process. Andrew from London and CEO and founder at Heart. Events, VP of events at Cars Business School. Andrew, if you can join us and connect your camera and sound and give us your comments regarding sales process, how to approach sales and what to do. Yeah, all right. While we're waiting for you, Andrew and Gaynor, if you can connect us, stay with us. And yes, Tony, thanks for asking regarding advice or helping to find the co-founder. And actually, let me give you a very quick, brief info regarding what's going to happen next in next couple of weeks. Andrew, thanks a lot for joining. Very quickly, if you can introduce yourself and tell us a few comments about your thoughts about sales process and what we're experiencing right now, how to survive in this current situation. Make introduction.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's really good to see you. It's nice to see folks that I normally see in person at events around the world. I think what I'm hearing from a lot of the folks who are asking questions is a little bit of fear about reaching out and how you do that professionally. While I'm giving a quick tip. Let me know for folks who are still paying attention, who are still awake, after however many events they attended. How many people have you reached out to this week, like in actual numbers? Have you reached out to 5? Have you reached out to 0? Like, really be honest, because I think it'll help, other folks help you in the chat. But, for me, I think the biggest thing that's changed, and it's what all the other speakers have said, we really have no idea right now. And anybody who pretends to have some idea, they're totally lying. So anybody who's telling you things saying they have an answer, it's baloney, because nobody knows. There's never been a time in history where we stop everything, really put the world on pause, and see how we come out on the end. Even, the Great Depression took 5-8 years to be the Great Depression. So I think it's a really interesting time from a sales side. What you really need to do is reach out. So, as an example, I sent over 500 LinkedIn connections and messages this week, and we do every week. Every member of our team, we're sending out 1,000 or 1,500 cold emails a week.
Wow.
As a team, and if you don't do that, you're not really putting yourself out there, because sales is kind of a numbers game. So I want to make sure I pull up the chat and see if anybody actually answered. Okay, nobody said how many people they're reaching out to. But from our side and from my experience, people are pretty afraid, even to send a couple messages on LinkedIn,
Right.
because they don't know what's going to come out of them. So if there's one thing I can share, as we wrap this up, it's just to send messages, to reach out to 10 people every day or 20 people every day, trying to build those connections and asking them for feedback on your product. You actually don't have to sell at the very beginning. Actually asking for feedback, if you're really doing that, can be a huge benefit. If you're lying and actually trying to sell them, I don't recommend, lying to folks about your intentions. But if you're really looking for feedback, I think that's an incredible thing for you to do. Just do it every day, even if it's 10 LinkedIn messages a day, where you're adding 10 new people that are your target market. I think just that will change everything that you're doing. We're doing, 100 a day. So, it pays off.
Well, I guess it's the best advice you could give. I think that exactly the case that keeping consistency, but also the figures, probably if someone's saying like, I just reaching 5 people a day, and if you make it like a few hundreds a day, it's not comparable. So if probably people complaining about not reaching the targets, probably they're not doing enough job, or maybe they don't make enough efforts to make it. The question,
I think fear is a big factor. I think obviously everyone here is passionate. They're coming to an event, that they don't have to be at. You could be, playing Call of Duty right now. But I think really stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit and putting in just a little bit of effort. It's a little bit scary. Like, I get it. I know that it's not easy. But if it's a little bit scary, then you're doing the right thing. That's the best advice that I ever got. If you're a little bit afraid of stepping out and doing that thing, if you're not actually at risk, that fear just means you're learning something new. The fear just means you are stepping out of your comfort zone and you're gaining a new skill. So there's literally no reason to be afraid of sending LinkedIn messages or LinkedIn connections. Like, you are not going to die. So if you're afraid of it, I think that means you absolutely have to do it, like right now. You should go on LinkedIn after this and make it happen.
All right. A part of being your very confident speaker and kind of the person who can give the kind of the confidence, can you recommend maybe some book regarding the going out of the comfort zone? Because I believe you're absolutely right. You can have amazing product, you can be exceptional, tech talent, but if you're not reaching the target audience, or you're not making it, at certain a level of dedication, and also a certain level of figures, as you mentioned, you're probably not making the great progress just because of that. So how to make a step out of the comfort zone? Any advices, any book, article, any person? What's your magic bullet points of this?
Yeah, you can get it for free online, by stealing it, or you can just pay the low price. The mom test, I think, is the best, because, it's a very small book. It's easy to read. It's very clear. And basically, in summary, it says you can't approach your customers like you'd approach your mom, where you'd say, hey, do you think this is a great idea? What do you think about this great thing I made? And because they're going to be nice, they're going to say, oh, that's great. Yeah, go you, just like your mom would. But that's not really the way to talk to customers. So just finding out the right way to talk to them, I think will give you enough confidence to step out of your comfort zone a little bit. But part of it is you, right? It's whether you are willing to feel a little uncomfortable.
Right, but it comes with a practice, I believe. Like, so definitely some people, they just need to make some kind of the first step to make to leave this comfort zone, and after it's becoming more natural and more, you know, more that like day-to-day routine, as you mentioned, that if you do your approach of reaching new people on the daily basis for maybe last, I don't know, a few months or a couple of years, that's becoming part of your life, and you're really, you know, fine with that. But some people, they never did that before, so for them it's huge step forward and maybe completely. It's funny how click meeting just fall down due to the probably the demand of the server. Tony, thanks for coming back. Just we about to summary up in case some people they're gonna come back. And just let me give you a few thoughts, a few comments about what's going to happen next, and just a quick overview. Thanks for staying, and we just will finalize the session right now. Thanks a lot, Barna, for joining. Thanks. We're just about to finalize, but I'm going to give the update regarding what's next and a few reflections about the current topic. So this Saturday, 10 a.m. London time, Breakfast with Tech Entrepreneurs online edition. You're more than welcome to join us. You can find the tickets on eligent.club. More than welcome to join. Next Thursday, this Saturday, how to build a tech startup Q&A session at 6 p.m. online, Q&A purely session, only questions and answers, everything about building a tech startup. We will be answering tonight on Saturday at 6 p.m. London time. Again, tickets are available online on Eventbrite and Eligent.club. Next week, Thursday, 23rd of April, how to win a startup pitch competition. It's going to be a real session with investors, with the mentors and our coaches, in order to get real-time feedback how to win a startup pitch competition, all the insights about that. What we created as well is the workshops about technology and product development for a tech startup in 30th of April, 6 p.m. All the tech language frameworks, any tech solutions to build your products for a tech startup, particular workshop about this. So Eligent Startup Weekend on 1st and 3rd of May, we have a special weekend to find a co-founder to come with some startup idea and build your project online during 3 days session. So it's a startup weekend online, tickets on eligent.club. It's a great opportunity to meet co-founders. Thank you very much, Tony, for staying and coming back. Just make a summary for our YouTube broadcast audience. So please, if you're interested to find the co-founder, to find a good startup idea and build your product in 3 days, join our Eligent Startup Weekends on 1st and 3rd of May, and tickets on Eligent Club, as I mentioned before. Investment Pitch Day, first our Investment Eligent Accelerator Pitch Day on 28th of May. Tickets on eligent.club as well. And if you're looking for consistent support in order to get a real-time mentorship support and real-time knowledge about how to build your tech startup and bring it to the market, feel free to apply to our Eligent Accelerator program. You can apply online, eligent.club/accelerator. And we have 2 winners of tonight, 2 winners, and Tony, you're the winner as well. previously. So we have questions from Victoria and Igor. Two attendees, they got a special tickets to Eligent Film Festival 26th, 28th of November, first international film festival about startups. Please follow updates on eligentfilmfestival.com and stay tuned. And definitely our club ambassadors as Barnabas Chikush, our club mentors, advisors, they are coming, they invited to our gala evening with award ceremony of the best works across the globe about startups. So I'm unfortunately we had this connection issue during our live broadcast. Thank you very much for staying. See you this Saturday 10 a.m. at Breakfast with Tech Entrepreneurs online edition. Tickets on eligent.club. And at 6 p.m. on Saturday, we have special Q&A session with our mentors and advisors of Eligent Club, how to build a tech startup, only questions and only answers. It's real-time Q&A session, 6 p.m. So thank you very much for staying with us. Thank you very much all, and looking forward to see you shortly later on. Extremely pleased to have our discussions, and thank you very much for all your contribution, and see you next time. Yes, thank you, Tony. Thank you very much, Barna, for staying, and great comments as always. Very pleased to have you guys. Have a good evening. So yes.